Good morning. I'm Billy Hempler with GovCon Leader Circle,
And I'm Patrick Hill with GovCon Leader Circle.
and today we have Houman Ghorbani from NetImpact Strategies. How are you, Houman?
Good. I'm doing very well. How are you guys?
Doing great.
Doing
It's
great.
Friday. Can't complain. Hopefully, it's good weather this weekend.
Hopefully. I know today is not the greatest.
Yeah.
Tomorrow might not be either.
You getting some golf in soon?
I am. I am actually going to Stream Song next week.
Excellent. Okay. No, I've not
Forward.
played there.
Yeah, I'm excited. Definitely excited about that. Almost excited about golf.
Good. Good.
Right.
Good. Well, let's get started. Tell us about NetImpact Strategies.
Yeah. I mean, Net Impact Strategies has been around since 2009. It was started by founder Kavita Kautor. She has been the owner since that time, and it was pretty much a acquisition support type of company back then. I mean, I think everybody was doing pretty much acquisition support, right? And program management. So that has been the primary contracts that she was working on. She grew the company over the next few years. I actually met Kavita when I was at my former company, Vistronics. Her mentor was the CEO of Vistronics at the time. And so she started off her company, and I was actually helping her out a little bit. And our relationship grew, became friends. She's a wonderful person. And over time, paths just crossed and ended up coming over here. Came over, and she had done a wonderful job, growing the company overall. Still within primarily GovCon, of course, customers being sort of DHA, mostly health IT is where we're pretty much focused. I joined Net Impact back in 2000, was it 2018? I can't believe it's been it's been almost 8 years for sure.
Yeah.
And within the few years, we grew the company, grew the revenue, but she sort of wanted to refocus Net Impact to really attack where GovCon was sort of go, right? Where it needed to go and sort of be ahead. So we actually brought in a new CEO at the time back, I believe it was about 2000, a little bit around after COVID, 2001, PV, who was the former CEO at Unisys.
Okay.
So he helped Net Impact really change over these past few years, became more IT modernization company. We focused more also shifting to having sort of two lines of business, one product line of business, and also government services, of course, being the bread and butter overall for Net Impact. We shifted significantly from the program management and acquisition to primarily IT. Leveraging back then, we were also a service now integrator, and we became an elite partner a few years back. So where we are today is making sort of that overall shift, still with the IT modernization, of course, but we are providing sort of that digital transformation support primarily to government, focusing really on driving overall technology advancements and modernization. Most of our solutions is around sort of just like streamlining operations, right? We're doing that both through the services side and also leveraging the products that we have also built sort of over that time to help us shape and be prepared as we grow into this, I guess we can say new era, especially with the AI piece coming in.
Yep. Excellent. Thank you for that overview. And just to back up, we'll get more into your history, but
Sure.
you're effectively the CFO of
Correct.
NetImpact. Yes. That's great. And you're in the DC area, local here.
Have been for quite a long time. That is correct.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so backing up, a couple questions to unwrap there. So you worked with PV as well previously, or you hadn't worked with
I
him?
had not. No, PV, I had met him, just when he came on board pretty much, or right before he came on
Okay,
board.
but you'd worked with Kavita.
Primarily worked with Kavita through our, connections that we had from my
Yeah,
former company. So
yeah, yeah.
coming over to Net Impact, at least for me personally, I've been really sort of all over the place. I don't have an accounting background. I graduated back in the '90s from George Mason, and got into AT&T Solutions, which was a government contracting company at the time. Did a lot of sort of budgeting, for the company, and then shifted more to sort of an investment background. Went to a BDC company, business development corporation company. Did a lot of due diligence there and monitoring, portfolio monitoring, and then shifted over and just did valuations of companies as well for a few more years. We got a opportunity to go into pricing. I had a buddy of mine who was a recruiter at SAIC and went into pricing in 2005 and was with the SAIC, eventually changed to Leidos for about 5 years. And then had the opportunity to join Vistronics, which is also where I had met Kavita at the time that she was also starting her company. So our relationship grew from there, and the opportunity to be sort of the head of the finance and accounting sort of CFO role came about in 2008 after talking to her, and really had to jump on that opportunity because it was a different shift, right? I had been doing pricing for a good while and understanding execution side as well as understanding proposal side, and getting also involved with a lot of M&A. We do a lot of M&A transactions with Mistronics. So I got a really broad background overall that I was able to leverage and carry that over to NetImpact.
So, Houman, this is a phenomenal background. Could you talk a little bit about the transition from ASRC to Octo and then to NetImpact?
Yeah, so back in 2016, SARC acquired Mistronics. And um, that gave me the opportunity really to look for something. I enjoy actually working for mid-sized sort of companies. So Octo came about and had that opportunity to go over there, which again, Octo is a great company. Still in touch with the former president, owner, CEO Nagel over there, and enjoyed my time with Octo. Was able to help them grow and see where they were getting ready to transition to, right? But of course, my transition from Octo to Net Impact was more about opportunity. I felt like I had been doing pricing for quite a long time, and the opportunity to be able to manage and oversee an accounting and finance department, plus being able to interject and be involved strategically, not just with the growth of the company, but with other departments within Net Impact, became something I just couldn't pass up at the time.
Oh, that's great. Well, and it's so unique. Every CFO has a different path that they took to get to CFO. You mentioned a moment ago you didn't have the debits and credits, the
No.
yeah, the fun debits and credits stuff that an accountant may have. You didn't have the banking or the fundraising experience. You came up the true GovCon background, pricing, understanding how to win work, and how it ties back into the corporate side. Do you want to speak to that a little bit? Maybe that uniqueness and maybe what you've seen climbing the ranks?
Yeah, I mean, my broad experience, when you say, I didn't have really the banking experience, didn't have the true investment banking experience. That
Yeah.
that is correct. But working as a BDC, it was very similar in fashion. You still had due diligence, quality of earnings to review, and go sort of through that whole process. And that got me to understand the acquisition of
Hmm.
companies, really more in the funding. It was raising funds at the time.
Got it.
So I understood that, but the criteria and the requirements for what you have to do there translates into investment banking, translates into sort of any type of sort of M&A acquisitions as well, mergers and acquisitions as well. So it's grabbing a little bit of those and then doing your own sort of due diligence to help expand and increase your knowledge sort of in that area, right? And working at Histronics at the time when I had moved over there, the 6 acquisitions that we were able to acquire, gave me a different perspective. What to look for. How does that affect the you and your company as a whole? How do you guys, combine the accounting systems? What are you specifically looking for in a company? Now, at that time also as well, it was more industry sort of specific, right? Most of the acquisitions back in the I guess you could say mid 2010s was kind of that Intel, cyber, NSA background that people were trying to acquire. we did acquire some of those companies, and that also allowed us at the time of our sale, because we had that as part of our portfolio, to be able to have a more broader sale overall to ASRC. So grasping or understanding or gaining that knowledge was definitely important for me overall, right? Having a wide range of sort of finance experience. Now, nothing accounting related still, but still around that sort of finance aspect.
There are some funny percentile percentages out there. How many accountants actually end up in the CFO or CFO equivalent role? So, but you're right. Yeah,
Honestly, I was always nervous about taking this role. Right. I mean, just to be honest, because I know other people probably may be in the same sort of role. I don't have the accounting experience. What do I have to do? It really comes down to just aptitude, networking, finding people who have gone through it, and asking them the right questions, right? So, as part of some other CFOs that I've talked to, it was very refreshing for them to say exactly the same thing. I had no idea what I was getting into, but at the time that they transitioned over into the CFO role, their best friend became Google, or I guess now we can say really Gemini or any of the other
yeah. ChatGPT,
LLMs that are
a lot of
out
the
there,
others. Yeah,
right?
sure.
That became their best friend to help and ensure. As long as you have, the wherewithal of where you need to go and and you can work well with people, you need to surround yourself with smart people, right? That's what I've done. You surround yourself with smart people. I don't need to know everything. I just need to know that my people know what I need to know. And I can go and I can ask them the right questions to help me understand, to help me grow, and vice versa, right? It's a two-way sort of communication. It should never be a one-way communication where it's a hierarchy from top down. I definitely don't believe in that sort of organizational structure. I think we all, as we grow in our careers, have to leverage people who are reporting to us, and vice versa. Right?
That's how
That's
you
the only
scale.
way that you can scale up, and the only way that you can sort of survive, I guess, and grow in this market.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's no way you can't boil the ocean. There's so many other bad analogies or
Right.
metaphors we could come up with, but well, it sounds like earlier than a lot of people in your career, you figured out the strategic involvement necessary for the next steps. It's interesting. You said a moment ago, you just alluded to it. You weren't actually planning on being CFO. It sort of, you found your way into it, right?
Right.
Because you were working on what you needed to be working on in front of you. You had kind of the growth by osmosis, being around people that really made a positive impact on you. And now you're at the place where it's, hey, I have to then give that back to my team so I can continue to scale, so I can continue to help next generation grow.
Correct.
No, it's great.
Correct. And again, it's who your bosses are. So I mean, I've had some really good bosses over my time,
Yeah,
and they have definitely helped me as part of my career to understand what is and what isn't important. Right. So that's the key. It's surrounding yourself with the right folks, whether it's your boss or whether it's people who are reporting to you, in order for one to be successful.
totally. Yeah, no, it's well said. Well, fun question.
Sure.
So do you think that your path is repeatable? Yet now that you've seen it, do you think that someone could go, great, I'm just going to do what Houman did?
I do. I mean, it all comes down to the individual and what you want
Yeah,
as part of your career, and what you're willing to do, what you're willing to sign up to.
yeah,
And as long as you're willing to sign up to learn new things and to take on challenges throughout your career, you can do whatever you want to do. That's ultimately at least what I believe it comes down to. Some people are content staying in one path, and some people want to learn more and grow and expand as part of their career. Um, those are also the types of people that I like to see, even underneath me. I always tell my employees, hey, when people are reporting to me, whether you're here with me or whether you're not here with me, as part of your career, you got to learn as many different things as possible, um, so that you are just not stagnant. Because there's always somebody else on the other side of either this camera or other side of the town that is doing what they need to do to get ahead of you. So
Yeah.
Will do what you need to do to try to maintain, or get ahead of other people in order to be successful.
The only thing that's constant is change, and if you're not swimming,
Yeah,
you're sinking.
you're sinking. Yeah, and
Yeah.
everybody encounters, right? We all encounter that moment where you're just so overwhelmed that you're just like, oh my goodness, I wish I could just
Mm.
stay where I was before.
Yeah.
And and again, it's fine. You dwell in that moment, but then you got to get out of that and kind of just move forward and sort of make things
Yeah.
happen. Like, we're all human by nature, right? We're not robots. At
Yeah.
least not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
So, Human, this is a phenomenal story that you're sharing, and it seems that no path is unique, right? And yours is very unique in and of itself. Could you talk a little bit about what you're seeing in the state of the market over the last 18 months? Maybe some challenges that you've seen at NetImpact, either specifically or maybe from an industry perspective that have had to have been addressed, how you're managing that, and then maybe also on the flip side, some opportunities that you are seeing as we go into the back half of 2026, probably already starting to plan for 2027.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say it started off probably 2025, when you have Doge sort of step in and make that change, and coming up with that whole sort of commercial first mentality and mindset. And yeah, a lot of people sort of now switch, right? Having the sort of commercial first mindset and coming up with standardization or products to make it easier for the government to purchase. Um, that wasn't so much. I think everybody looked at it as, oh my goodness, we got another hurdle to jump, right? Uh, for Net Impact in general, we had already started the product process. So we were able to sort of leverage that and sort of make that shift back in 2025. So that sort of helped us as far as our growth. Now, on the services side is where we started to take a hit just like everybody else, right? There were significant cuts depending on what agencies that you were in, that impacting primarily on the Fed Civ side. We did see some cuts, but we were able to navigate through that. And the executive leadership team, all of us were able to communicate and sort of make those changes. The other thing that we've seen in the past 6 9 months or so, and what we talked about is AI, right? That's going to be the focus moving forward. What is AI doing both for the government services side and also for the company, right? You have sort of two things that you have to maneuver and set up the company for is, how do we make things more cost efficient for the company? How do we compete against others who are also in that same boat, dealing with AI and making things more efficient? And then how do you implement that internally for your folks, right? So, companies are definitely battling and trying to come up with that idea of how to get ahead of the market. Some of it it's just to throw out there just to be part of the conversation. Some of the information out there is also legit as far as some products and ideas that they're coming up with. Um, Net Impact itself have a number of products. There are two products that we have, one being AI Forge, another one being DXOCM, which are game changers to us, right? The AI Forge piece really is around efficiencies, building efficiencies for the company, being able to uh, uh, um, reduce costs overall. The XOCM product is around sort of just change management, right? And how you can leverage change management to change your processes, organizational processes internally, to make things again more efficient, right? So those are some of the things that we are sort of looking at ourselves within that impact, that I think other companies are also doing that as well. There's a lot of opportunity to shift to this area and to find those cost efficiencies. But then eventually it's going to become a battle, right? And a lot of these things are probably over time, next couple of years, maybe eventually get commoditized. And then you got to make a different shift probably at that time. But I think everybody's trying to understand, how do we leverage AI both internally and externally to help focus the company strategically into the right direction. Now, internally, and you guys are probably seeing the same thing, is employees are hesitant. Employees are hesitant to implement AI. Am I going to lose my job? With NetImpact, what we're sort of looking at is we're not trying to replace, people. We're trying to really amplify and allow scalability, right? We're trying to have the team in place first, and then as we grow, leveraging the AI to do more of the administrative work, which then allows my people to do probably more of the analytical work, right? So that's sort of where we're focused, and that's probably across all sort of back office. So it is definitely scary time, for
Sure.
sure, and trying to get your employees to sort of understand that is key as we start to grow. I mean, other things in the market as you slow down in the M&A activity, especially with changes, as we know in the SBA, that has definitely affect a lot of small business companies. We've started to see also a shift in BNP, a lot more consolidation as far as contracts are concerned. We do see a lot of phased approach moving forward. I would believe that that would also continue. And then also seeing probably some orals. We're starting to see a lot more oral recommendations or requirements as well. And then last but not least, CMMC, right? That's a big topic. Luckily, I don't get as heavily involved in that. um, but yes, we do definitely need to be prepared as far, especially needing a third party, certification with a lot of the proposals that are coming out. So there is a significant change, things that are concurrent, I guess, right? A lot of these changes are sort of concurrent, and there's which one do you try to manage and monitor first over time, and how do you set yourself up moving forward in the next few years? So a
Well, it
lot,
seems like,
lot of change.
yeah, and it seems like AI, from what I'm hearing, there's a bottom line component, right, to reducing inefficiencies, right, ways that we can potentially save, but there's also a top line component around growth and BD efforts,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Um, and CMMC, right, the hurdle there is now how do we protect our data, where
Hmm.
AI is truly plugged into data. How do you see AI helping from a market competitive standpoint or from a competitive analysis? I guess would be part number one, right? And then how are you seeing that in market when it comes to looking for work, looking for contracts, deepening relationships with your contracting managers or the agencies you support?
Yeah, I think it's actually speeds up the process of using AI to gather information. But again, you gotta look at two different things, Patrick, right? You're gathering all this information. It ultimately comes down, what do you do with it?
Sure.
So with some of my people, just on the pricing bid and proposal side, which we were leveraging AI, right? We're developing prompt engineering to come up and try to speed up the process so we can do more in less time. But when you're pulling that information, then what are you exactly doing with that information? I think that's still the human aspect, human feel and touch that needs to read between the lines that at this time I don't think any LLM model would be able to do. So you are still going to have to leverage the information, but the analytical piece of it is still going to be part of that human nature, human skill set, at least to me at this current moment, right? So focusing on developing the right prompts to be able to pull the necessary information, but it is a lot of sort of trial and error of getting AI, and you have to do multiple iterations in some cases so that it learns from your questions that you are asking it in order to bring out the right information to be able to analyze and utilize.
You really
Sure.
do have to treat it like, you're starting with a middle schooler that tomorrow is gonna be a high schooler so long as you keep feeding it and feeding it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good analogy.
It's
That's a
good.
really
Yeah.
good analogy, man. Yep.
Awesome. Well, we have a few more minutes here. Tell us a little bit more about you, personal life. I know you're a big golfer.
I am a big golfer. I am a big sports fan. I have lived in the DC area all my life. Um, I went to George Mason undergrad, went to Johns Hopkins for my MBA, um, and I love sports. I love basketball. I used to actually coach basketball with high school kids a long time ago. I think eventually, hopefully, get back into that down the road. But right now, my obsession is pretty much golf, and I think a
Yeah.
lot of people around my age, which we don't have to get into how old I am, even though I may have given some ideas to what that is. probably in the same boat. I mean, golf is a lot of fun. I mean, you guys both know. I've played with both of you guys, so all you need is that one par to bring it back.
Or
And
hole in one, right?
Or
our
hole in
hole
one.
in one, which I've had one, thanks to Patrick. All right, thanks to Patrick. So you know, it's a lot of wonderful memories for sure. And with my kids getting older and not wanting to spend time because dad's too old I do
We'll
get
spend
that
time with
time to
you.
go with.
Yeah, don't worry, Houman. We'll spend time with you.
So yeah, I mean that's pretty much me. I enjoy also biking, um, and just really do spend a lot of time with the kids and my wife. And one of our favorite things that we enjoy as a family is going to the beach. We usually annually go to Outer Banks, and then just spending time with my family. You know, outside family, my sister, my wife's family, and stuff too. So on the weekends and with friends, I'm relatively low key by nature. Um, Maybe as you get older, you kind of gravitate to that way.
Sure. Yeah, that's great. Well, anything else you want to share with us? Any other questions for the GovCon Leaders Circle?
No. I mean, what do you guys? You guys are Billy, you and Patrick. What you see, Patrick, you interact with a lot more. Being as far as the benefits aspect of things. Where are you guys seeing the changes across companies, whether small or large? And do they correlate with some of the things that I've mentioned here as part of the Q&A here?
There are certainly consistent themes, right? Margin pressure is top of mind for every organization. And that's outside of government contracting. That's commercial, every industry, but specifically inside government contracting, we've just seen the sensitivity to talent management, the costs around hiring really key qualified people, which goes into Billy's line of work, the cost of keeping them, right? And then the trade-offs on what it does from a profitability standpoint.
Right.
There's a give and a take. Um, and there's no right or wrong. It's really, I would say, an art compared to a science on how we balance really good talent with positive cash flow and margin
Mhm.
play. But we do think that every contractor right now, at least that we speak with, is definitely balancing the fact of how do I manage the costs of keeping, retaining, attracting really strong candidates, offering really robust benefit packages and compensation packages, but then how do I manage that within the context of my fringe and my indirect costs?
Mhm.
That's always where the conversation goes back to, and that's what we're seeing. I don't see that going anywhere, but there are creative ways that we've seen employers get ahead of the curve. But then the question always goes back to, does it align with the core principles and priorities of the organization, and can it be sustainable long term?
Yeah, and dovetailing from there, Patrick's work is there's a lot more levers to it in terms of what to pull, analysis in terms of different areas of cost. I would say recruiting and staffing is typically a little less complex in that regard. It's definitely complicated and hard line of work in terms of competing for the talent that's available. What you mentioned earlier about AI, uh, this came up multiple times this week, and I feel like it comes up every day now. Another CFO I was speaking with yesterday, they're not letting anyone go, but every time somebody leaves, they're doing the analysis. Can we replace them with,
Right.
humanoid? um,
Right.
and then more on what you were getting at. Can we take everyone on our team and make them a quarterback? Can we take everyone and have them do the analytics and have the blocking and tackling done by the machine,
Correct.
by the workflow? And that's how you're going to organically grow moving forward instead of adding 10 people in years past on average for a particular team. Now you're adding only two. Maybe it gets to a place where you don't have to add anybody. And then it's a very weird market. Side piece there. Jay Powell came out, I think it was last week, and said effectively nobody's hiring right now. And that's weird because in the years past, you'd go, well, that's a cataclysmic scenario for the market. Nobody's hiring, and truly, it's not that nobody isn't. It's that we've seemed to do a good job as an economy replacing a good bit of corporate jobs with augmented resources such as AI. And I think everything gets lumped into AI now, whereas really before it would have just been called technology. But yeah, it's very interesting to watch. I think that 10 years ago when I started in recruiting, you had a, let's say, department of 5 to 10 people in AP, billing, payroll, operational accounting. That's probably three. For a team that used to be 10, now it's three. You
Yeah.
got one person for each. That'll probably continue. It's going to be really hard to replace your pricers entirely. It's going to be really hard to replace entirely your project control, program finance folks. You may be able to get enough input uh, to a clean spot where you can do your ETCs and EACs clean enough, but it'll really rely on the data that's being input. You can't replace your technical accountants, that foundational knowledge of ASC 606, whatever it might be, that's going to be tough.
Right.
So, but we'll continue to move up in terms of where the focus is. That's how it goes, right? It's the old horse and buggy versus the car. Um, so that's what I'm seeing. I think that if not for AI, which is a big if, the economy would look a lot different right now.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, we're in sort of the same situation as well, with looking at what can we automate internally, and getting back to, if somebody leaves, do we still need to do A, B, and C? All right, maybe we only need to do C, and we can get rid of A and B. Then does that mean we need a full person to bring on, or how do we break that across the team? And how do we leverage AI to then break out even things further that AI can support? So I think everybody's in the same boat. And yes, I do believe that the market has sort of slowed down for sure. One, seeing if you can handle it internally, and then two, uh, ensuring that you don't just bring somebody on because you think you need to. You need to assess whether or not you really have to, I guess.
Right. Right. No, that's great. Well, thanks for joining us today, Juan. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys. I mean, you guys are wonderful. I mean, I give you guys props. I work with you guys all the time. So, um, I definitely enjoy the time that we talk, and support that you both provide me and Net Impact.
We
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Whatever to help out. Yeah, appreciate it. All right. Well, if you enjoyed this today, please follow, like, and subscribe GovCon Leader Circle. Till next time, we'll see you.